share on what Ben was just speaking about, prophesying to the dry bones. I believe it was 6-8 weeks ago, maybe, when Jimmy preached on, maybe longer than that. How many of you were here when he spoke on prophesying to the dry bones? That word really got a hold of me that day. I came home and did something I've never done in my life. I grabbed Lori and the kids into the room, and I just started prophesying to them. I prophesied to myself. I prophesied to Lori. I prophesied to Kayla and Jacob individually, things that were going on in our lives where the enemy was messing with each one of us, and just spoke against it, the word of the Lord. And it has been an interesting journey the last 6 or 8 weeks. I mean, we would both confess that. But let me tell you, there's been positive transformation in all 4 of us. On all the areas that I spoke about that day, I could sit here and talk about every one of them, and I can see positive transformation within myself, Lori, Kayla, and Jake. The word of the Lord is powerful. Prophesying to the dry bones in your lives will change your atmosphere. And so I really received that word, Ben. That was awesome. This is an interesting journey I've got to take us on today. I've got a question for you, and I want you to be honest, okay? If we're going to get out here, we've got to be honest, okay? We're going to talk about marriage today. I think you'll all be cheering when we get out of here, okay? But the fact that you didn't cheer probably answers my question. Honestly. And you and your spouse have to agree, okay? If one of you says yes and the other thinks no, then it's a no, okay? How many of you would say that the last 3 months of your life in your marriage are the best 3 months you've ever experienced in your marriage? By a show of hands, I received that, by the way, there. By a show of hands, the last 3 months is the best 3 months you've ever experienced. I saw maybe 4 marriages. Very good. Everybody who did not raise their hand and is married, please stand up. Please stand up. It's okay. That'd be quite an accomplishment to say the last 3 months are the best 3 months of your life, okay, in your marriage. I want you to kind of look around. We've got a small crowd today, okay? But by looking, this is 80 to 90% of us. 80 to 90% of us. I want you to sit down. Listen, if you are not sitting by your spouse, and your spouse is in attendance today, it's a requirement that you sit by your spouse today. Okay? Now let me tell you something. A week and a half ago, I had no idea, brother. I had no idea where I was supposed to go today. And it was concerning me, Ron. I mean, I've known a couple of months and been praying about it. And this has never happened to me. I was literally asleep. The Lord woke me up in the middle of the night last Tuesday night, a week and a half ago, and literally spoke to me about 2 or 3 minutes and said, you need to preach about marriage because marriage is under attack. And you know what I did? I laughed. I did. My first words to the Lord was, you have got to be kidding. You know why? Because I haven't been a perfect husband the last few months. I would not have raised my hand. Or it says, David, I'm preaching to you. Preaching to Lori. I'm preaching to all the celebration. See, I know in the natural that the enemy is attacking marriages in this church. Okay? I naturally know that. But it's a fact. See, the enemy wants to destroy our marriage. And I'm going to explain why today he wants to destroy your marriage. Because if he can destroy your marriage, he can destroy your ministry. If he can destroy your marriage, he can destroy your ministry. Now let me ask you, by show of hands, this is an easier question. How many of you 2 or 3 years ago went through either Love and Respect or went through Complete Husband, Excellent Wife with my wife and I? Raise your hand. Went through that course maybe, what was it? Maybe 3 years ago. It's been a while, okay? Now for those of you who went through those courses, how many of you would say that it edified your marriage when you went through those courses? All of us. All of us. Matter of fact, I think maybe every one of us made the comment, you know what, we ought to do this every year. Isn't that right? Y'all said that. Maybe we should. Well, maybe we need to have a Love and Respect Saturday once every year. You know what I'm saying? You know, we need to refocus on our marriages. You know, because we get off kilter. We get things out of whack, and we get important things, you know, in the way, and that's because we're all selfish. And that's where we're going to start today, is selfishness. I've come today, I'm going to talk about servanthood, humility, and ministry, okay? But before I start talking about marriage, why don't we talk about Jesus? Is that okay with y'all? Mark 10, 35 through 45. I'm going to read a little bit of this to you. I want to see your reaction to the first 3 verses. Mark 10, 35 through 37. It says, here's the oil. Then James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came to him saying, Teacher, we want you to do for us whatever we ask. And he said to them, What do you want me to do for you? They said to him, Grant us that we may sit, one on your right hand and the other on your left, in your glory. Now, what's your thought about that? I mean, you would never say that, would you? Then you would never say that. No. Ron, you wouldn't say that, would you? I mean, the nerve of those guys to say, hey, why don't you hook this up on your right and left hand? You know what? That's the way you live your life. If you're not guided by the Spirit, if you walk in the flesh, that's the way you live your life. How often do you spend time every day thinking about other people? Your favorite word is I. What do I want to do today? What do I want to accomplish? How do I want to entertain myself? What do I feel like eating? Who do I want to hang out with? Man, I don't feel good today. I didn't deserve that. You have no right to think that way. We'll get there. Here's what Jesus said, Mark 10:41. If you come on down, it says, When the 10 heard it, they began to be greatly displeased with James and John. Now, wasn't that convenient? All their buddies like, man, you really have some nerve, don't you? You really have some nerve. But you know what? They were selfish too. Jesus called them in. He said to them, You know that those who are considered rulers over the Gentiles lord it over them. The great ones exercise authority over them. Yet it shall not be so among you. Whoever desires to become great among you shall be your servant, and whoever of you desires to be first shall be slave of all. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life a ransom for many. As we get started today, this is not just about marriage. So if you're not married right now, if you're a young person heading into marriage, if you're single right now, if you're divorced, if you're looking to get married one day, if you never want to get married one day, this is not